What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all the four major sports leagues, whether that be NFL, NBA, NHL, or MLB, whether it be games, highlights, news, all that fun stuff. We're here to talk about it. In today's NBA episode, Nick, obviously, draft, free agency, basically all done with pending any major trades. So as we kind of talked about yesterday, the contenders and pretenders, anyone who hasn't, make sure to check that out. But today, figured we talk about the basketball that is going to be going on. Obviously, it's going to be summer league stuff we can talk about. But more importantly, the USA Olympic teams, the men's team, has obviously been practicing recently these last upcoming days. And, it's a really stacked team, which is a good thing because there's debates on who should be starting, who's who. They have Steve Kerr, Eric Spoelstra, Tyronn Lue coaching. So some of the best coaches in the league. The first question, I guess, Nick, we can break into is a race for second place, obviously. Because if this team doesn't win, boy, you just got – that's concerning. Maybe, whoever defeats them, should be, moved to the NBA, all those players, because this team is one of the better teams assembled in recent memory. And kind of want to give your quick thoughts on who you think the USA's biggest threat is, I guess, to, make it a close game or could defeat them, because obviously right now this team is the heavy favorites and everyone's just kind of, fighting for that silver medal.
Well, I know you're super high on France. Is Wemby playing for them?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he is. Yeah. So who else is on that team? Him, Gobert.
It's like some role players. Like, do you remember Evan Fournier?
Yep.
So he's on the team, and it's just the reason why I'm so high on France is one of the biggest rule changes in the FIBA is like there is no 3-second violation for standing in the paint. So if you have just two of the two best defenders in the NBA, being able to kind of, roam wherever, sit in the paint if they need to, that will kind of, help limit the drives. And I believe there's some other players I'm missing, but, Evan Fournier, obviously he isn't Booker, Tyrese, Ant, Tatum, but he's been in the NBA. He knows what it takes. And he's played for France for a lot of years. So Wemby just kind of adding a whole nother different dimension, just two 7-footers, and Wemby, has a different skill set than Gobert, but he can shoot the ball. So he's going to be much more versatile on offense that can help maybe this France team keep up just a little bit with this USA team. That's, a team I want to give some recognition to.
That's probably the one team I would say. Maybe Greece just because of Giannis, but again, it would be 1v5 basketball.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm sure there's some decent players on Greece, but
yeah, Giannis alone can, make any team, really competitive. But obviously,
I just don't see any team fully matching up to Team USA. I know, like you just talked about with Wemby and Gobert, them being able to hang out in the paint is going to make it tough. But when you have a guy like Steph Curry, you don't really need to go to the paint. If that's taken away, you have plenty of 3-point shooters on this team.
Yeah, but there is one team we haven't talked about yet that I think is actually probably the biggest threat, even ahead of France, is definitely Canada. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so arguably the best top 3 player in this league, second MVP voting last year. You have great role players on this team: RJ Barrett, Lou Dort, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I know Zach Edey dropped out, but that team alone has a really good group of guys, that can just, make past. Jamal Murray's on Team Canada. So you have a point guard, Jamal Murray, SGA, RJ Barrett, and then, a mix of Nickeil Alexander-Walker coming off the bench. That team's got some dudes. So it's definitely Team Canada has the most NBA ready, players, if you know what I mean. So it will just kind of come down to how does everyone else, I think USA is obviously still more stacked, but, Team Canada's got the most NBA players and, a lot of good players on that team. So you got to give some love to them too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a team that just completely flew over my head when thinking about it, because I'm pretty sure we touched on Team Canada a little bit in one of
Yeah,
our
they also
NBA
Dylan.
episodes. Yeah, so I mean, they're obviously not Team USA, like talent-wise, but they're definitely a team that could compete with them. And like, if Team USA is having an off night, especially in those medal rounds or those knockout rounds, like you have an off night against a team like Team Canada, they're probably going to beat you. So as good as this Team USA team is, they can't just think they're going to walk through. And I don't think they're going to think that. I think they're probably going to be hungry because they didn't win the gold last time, if I'm correct. They didn't win gold 2020, was it? Or did they change it? Because
2021, Greg Popovich was coaching the team.
Yeah, so I mean, they're going to be hungry. It wasn't this same team, was it? I think it was a little worse.
No, I know. I think it was like their best player was like the youngest. It was like a 22-year-old Jason Tatum or something.
Yeah, which obviously he's gotten a lot better. But now you have LeBron, Curry, KD, AD, Embiid somehow. But this team, there's really no excuse for them to not win.
Yeah,
I hope nobody gets injured, because obviously it's the Olympics and you don't want to see that. But even if, a guy goes down with an injury, like you still have like 8 of the best players in the NBA. So.
Oh yeah, no. And I mean, you got, like you said, Team Canada's they're most equipped, and even then, starting like, a guy like Lou Dort who's really good, or, a Dylan Brooks, that team just, won't be able to, keep up with just the firepower that this team has. I mean, it's unreal. And I also wanted to give a shout out because I thought this was very interesting. The players and like the people like in the scrimmages, like, like the select team and stuff, like voted on who, like the go-to guy is on Team USA. And I thought it was very interesting. So LeBron still getting 5 votes, way ahead of the pack. But interesting enough, then with like a second place tie between Curry and Edwards and Drew Holiday on who the best player is on Team USA. So Drew Holiday getting some love. I thought that was interesting. And
shout out Drew.
And then there were several players with 1 vote. I believe Embiid had 1 vote. AD. So shout out to them. But I thought that was still interesting. Despite everything, my biggest takeaways were and Edwards already getting that respect as a top 3-4 player on this team, and LeBron still being known as the go-to guy despite being 39 and still tearing this league up.
I mean, we knew Ant was going to be up there. I mean, don't be glazing too hard. We knew Ant was going to be there.
You thought Ant would be ahead of like KD, tied with Curry, because as of right now, I think like Ant and Curry are probably like the same player just because Curry's older and Ant's only getting better. But at the end of the day, part of it's legacy, like what I think, and I think
I get that. But maybe, I mean, we also don't see what, goes on in those practices and stuff. I know they just scrimmaged, what was it, like the select team or something?
Yeah, with Cooper Flag, coming in this.
That, honestly, I don't
know.
Drew
Holiday, 2 votes? I mean, I didn't expect that. But, I mean, Drew Holiday's a grimy defender. He does the dirty work that kind of goes unrecognized.
And maybe it's like a leadership thing, too, because I know he, took on a big leadership role in Boston, and he was a huge reason why the Celtics won the championship. His leadership and ability to, he knows how to win in these big moments. He knows how to lead. So maybe you guys are getting behind that. But I know you're, the Timberwolves fan, but I'm not surprised that Ant Edwards was up there. Especially, with how he carries himself. He believes truly that he's the best player in the world. And I mean, when you have a guy like that, he's going to get respect if he can back it up. And Ant Edwards could definitely back it up. We've seen what he does in games, where he was doing in the playoffs. I know he had some, tougher moments, but he's still such a young guy who still carries himself.
I love the new AE ones he's wearing too for Team USA. Those are fire.
The red, white, and blues. Hopefully all these guys come out with some new shoes.
Yeah. With that being said, though, there's also just a couple things while we're talking about Team USA that I thought was interesting that came out from Bleacher Report. So kind of a different scouting thing. Ranking Team USA scoring options or number one scoring options. I thought this list was interesting. So number 5, speaking of LeBron, they had LeBron there, which I don't really mind because he is a scorer, but at the end of the day, he still is age 39. He's kind of, up there. So I think there's just more like maybe go-to scores at different moments. But I wouldn't argue if like people want him higher. But at the end of the day, it's kind of, there's so many scores on this team that's like, kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, they have Steph Curry. That one, I don't know. I thought Curry, may have been a little bit higher, just because it was 3-point shooting, and what he can do. One of the best scorers of this generation, But number 3, this is where they have Ann Edwards slid in. I thought that was fun, interesting. They're already, I was more so surprised by that.
What's the name of this list again? Like, what's the ranking? Just the best
ranking Team USA number 1 scoring options.
Okay.
So let me know, like, kind of, I'll get through the whole list and then what you agree, disagree with. So LeBron at 5, Curry at 4, and at 3. Joel Embiid's at 2. And number 1 is KD.
So I agree with KD because, he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. And I agree with Embiid at 2, actually, just because, a lot of these countries we're going to be playing are way smaller than us. Like, Embiid is what, 7'1", 7'2"? Like, some of these countries.
I agree, disagree, though, because you're right kind of on that part. But at the end of the day, it's a lot, being able to, staying in the paint, and also they don't call the fouls like that much, like compared to like the NBA. So he's not going to have like 20 free throw attempts in this. So that may be one part where I could see him in the top 5 still, but this isn't the NBA regular season where they're just going to, if they breathe on you, it's a foul. And he's going to the line.
No, I definitely get that, but I still think, 80% of these countries that we're going to be playing, he'll be able to just dominate because whatever big man they throw on him might be like 6'7", 6'8". Like, yeah. I can't think of every single team off the top of my head, but like the one team that might, handle him pretty well is France, just because, it's Gobert and Embiid and Wemby. So, yeah. But I agree with KD. I'm not too mad about that list.
I was just curious if you
just top 5, or is there like, does it go all the way?
Top 5 was what.
I am curious to see, just as a Celtics fan, where Tatum ranks in that, because like I feel like Tatum's like a quiet member on this team, like him and like Kawhi, just guys who aren't really getting talked about. And I'm not. This isn't me complaining about that. I'm just saying, like, I'm curious as to what he's going to do for this team, because like he's so used to, all these guys are so used to being the number 1 option, but like I feel like I can't remember what he really did last Olympics either, even when they lost. Like,
yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Kind of
going to be starting, probably not, right?
Tatum.
Yeah.
If it's, I don't really know with Steve Kerr, because it's Steve Kerr, I think, is still a really good coach, but he's definitely declined in some areas of the game. And the fact that I believe he was starting Austin Reeves over Ant Edwards last season in like the USA, whatever it is, wasn't like, I don't know if it was Olympics or whatever it's called, but they're playing other countries. That wasn't, these guys. Now he didn't start Ant Edwards at the start, so I don't really trust him to pull out the best lineups, even if Tatum should be in it. So Steve Kerr, kind of, I think Eric Spoelstra should be the main coach. I don't really think Steve Kerr is the guy to be leading this team, because he's probably going to play Curry like a bazillion minutes and take a toll on him entering next season. So Steve Kerr won't have, I don't know. I don't know what lineup Steve Kerr will really trot out. I'd assume if it's position basketball, I'd go, obviously Curry's going to be starting point guard, and rightfully so, no matter what. I would say shooting guard, he didn't start Ant Edwards over Austin Reeves, so I definitely don't think – I think he'll probably pull something where he starts like Booker.
I could see that.
I could see obviously LeBron at small forward, and then power forward depends with the KD injury. That's kind of where Tatum or KD, but it's probably gonna be KD if he's healthy for sure. Just legacy and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then center AD or Embiid's very interesting. I'd probably start AD, but Embiid's fine too. So one of those two will be obviously starting center.
It's a good problem to have. Like it's not like there's like you have a garbage backup. Like it's a good problem to have. Who should I start?
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
Anthony Davis, like
I would argue, just that starting lineup alone, whoever you trotted out, like if that was the lineup, like hypothetically I gave you, where it's Curry, Booker, LeBron, KD, and Embiid, I would argue a lineup of of backups, maybe Tyrese and Edwards, Tatum, Kawhi, and the other one of AD or Embiid. That game would be super close.
Like just those two against each other?
Like those two teams. So like two different teams, like the starting lineup versus the 5 like starting off the bench. And or if you don't want to do Tyrese, do Drew Holiday. I feel like that team may beat the starting lineup. So because the team that's going to be starting is more so legacy. And rightfully so. I mean, because obviously it's Curry, LeBron, and KD's and Kawhi's probably last chance at gold. During the Olympics. So obviously, you gotta give them some run. But overall, should be very interesting. I know they have a matchup coming up soon against Team Canada, actually, in like an exhibition. So that'll be interesting to see just how they match up against arguably the best competition.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for sure. Like I'm excited to watch this team because
I'm hoping for France USA finals because then it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm because I'm not like the biggest Olympics watcher. I'm not watching the high jump and everything like that, or winter. Like I usually watch the sports I know, like hockey or in this case basketball. So I am excited to watch this. I know. I feel like I heard talks of them maybe adding baseball to the Summer Olympics. In the upcoming Olympics. So that'd be cool to see. But I'm definitely excited to watch this. This is a medal that the USA should not lose. This is a gold medal. All you got to do is go take it.
If they lost this, I would be very concerned.
If they lose this, they had a lot of problems.
If they lost this, I would never let Steve Kerr coach an Olympic team again.
I think that would be the case.
Yeah, it would have to be. With that being said, though, should be very exciting. I know, they've been practicing, grinding. Things are looking good. So we'll see what happens. It's very competitive basketball right now. The Olympic select team, it looked like that was fun. Cooper Flagg was even getting some buckets, as he already looks NBA ready.
Future teammate Jason Tatum, he said that's his. I'm pretty sure he said that's like his favorite player in the NBA right now, or like who he'd want to play with the most, something like that. So, shout out Cooper Flagg, you're a future Celtic. Might as well book it now. You can just grab a jersey, buddy. Grab a jersey, hop on the bench.
Okay. I respect it. A little false optimism there, but I love it because if that happened by some account measure, I don't know what.
I think it's more so a Duke thing. I think it's just because he's going to Duke or he's going to Duke, right? Before I sign off.
Duke next season. So that'll be exciting. I mean, this dude already putting hoops at college, and now he's going to or already putting hoops on the best players in the league, and now he's just going to college for a quick year, where he might win National Player of the Year. So that'll be interesting. But with that being said, it's going to be a fun Olympics. Like similar to you, I haven't watched too much, but obviously with these guys, my guys, all in on this, it'll be very interesting, even against Canada. Seeing, I'm gonna be ready for that Ant Edwards versus Nickeil Alexander-Walker matchup because I know Nickeil's going to take that matchup, and I know Jamal Murray's thankful he has Nickeil on his team now because that famous sequence in the Denver Nuggets versus Timberwolves series where Murray couldn't move for 20 seconds. It'll be interesting because I'm ready for that dogfight. My dream ending would be USA France 1-point game, final second. Ant has a drive on Gobert no matter what happens, whether it's a game-winning layup for Ant or a game-winning block for Gobert, I can stand on business for one of the guys.
All right, bro. What you keep dreaming your little fantasy? It's gonna be a Tatum fadeaway for the gold medal, but
LeBron would have him cut instantly, even if he made it. The GM James. Yeah. But with that being said, yeah, it should be fun. We'll be here to recap maybe, throughout sporadically, any important stuff that happens in the Olympic Games. And we'll also be, starting to cut into Summer League a little bit as that kind of ramps up. But with that being said, as always, we're here 5 days a week making content for you guys. So make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.